Good morning, baseball fans, and welcome back to Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Do not be fooled by that fancy name. It's just me and some friends talking about baseball cards. And today's friend, we know. We've had him on a bunch of different times. The great Mark Hoyle, who, for the last time you saw him on this channel, we were going through his card room, so you'll see that in the background when he comes and join us. But today's show is about Lefty Grove, Hall of Fame left-handed pitcher, perhaps the greatest left-handed pitcher to ever play the game. He was born in Maryland. He was born in Western Maryland. His parents were miners, his father, his brother. But he ended up playing some baseball, being pretty good at it, and then getting signed by the Baltimore Orioles. This is the Baltimore Orioles, a minor league team in the early 1920s. Was so good with them, and his the owner of the team was trying to make as much money as possible off of selling Lefty Grove to a major league team that he played like 4 or 5 years there. It didn't start with the Philadelphia A's until I believe it was 1926. But let's look at the stats here. As you can see, he was born in Lonaconing, Maryland, in 1900. His debut was in 1925. Last game was in 1941. He went to the Hall of Fame in 1947, not surprisingly. Here's the stats. 1925, he comes to Philly. He's not great. And for all the money they spent for him, they thought he was a bust at first. He ends up walking 131 guys, leading the league in walks, but he would eventually get much better. And the following year, he was better, and then even better. And then, as you can see, he had one of the greatest stretches of any pitcher in Major League history. Won 2 Triple Crowns, won the MVP, won the World Series in 29 and 30, lost the World Series in 31. And then the A's started cleaning house, and he was eventually sold to Boston in 1934. And then he goes through and has some pretty decent years in Boston, finishes up as a 41-year-old, wins 300 games exactly, and like I said, goes to the Hall of Fame in 1941. So we've got a nice collection of cards to go through. I'm going to bring in my guest. You know him as the great Boston collector. There's the room. We did a whole show on your room, which is so much fun.
Nice to be back. Sir? I'm doing good. Nice to be back on. I don't know, show number 5 or 6, right? Something like that.
Something like that. But I don't know. The last time we did a show like this, I think was the Jimmy Fox, which was a little while ago.
Yeah.
But so Lefty Grove, of course, a Boston guy, which would explain why you collect him. But tell us a little bit about your history of collecting this particular player.
I knew Lefty. I was a historian, baseball historian, so I read every book I could get my hands on in the library. And I think my first recollection of Lefty Grove is I had the Dell Stamps booklet, and if you flip the back page, Lefty Grove is one of the guys there. They had like 6 Boston legends that were shown, and he was one of the guys. So I used to ride my bike to the flea market, and one guy had like the 34, 33 Goudey cards, and I had no idea what they were. But as a 10-year-old kid, I bought those things for pennies. And you're going to see those. You're going to see those
in a few minutes. Yeah, awesome.
And I even got the Diamond Stars. I mean, this is back in the mid 70s. You know, where the only spot you could buy cards was at a drugstore or a flea market. They didn't have the internet. There was no card stores per se. So the more I read up on Lefty, I realized just how much of a stud he was. And that whole A's team really was one of the early dynasties of MLB. Seems like Connie Mack broke it up and sold half the team to the Red Sox. There's a lot of crossover with guys that have played for both of those teams. But then when I got a little older, I dug into some of the other issues, and I picked those up. And I have a whole collection of, we'll see some later today, of Lefty Grove 8x10s. The cartoons that you used to find in the newspapers were pretty prolific back in the day, 30s, 40s. So I have a bunch of those. I think they're pretty neat. And I have some old scrapbook material that I've picked up over the years that it's a cheap, easy way to get some really cool pieces for your collection. So,
all right. Well, let's go. let's go into the collection as we normally do. Start off with my collection of Lefty Grove, which, although it's only 3 cards, they're 3 pretty nice cards.
3
If I
studs right
say
there.
so myself.
Yeah.
So the 29 cash and publications I just got at the Philly show a couple weeks ago. So happy to have that for this show. I did talk about the fact that it's arguably a rookie card because it's 29, and there's not much else of Lefty in that time frame, even though he started at 1925.
Yeah.
In the middle is a 1933 Goudey, a pretty nice copy of it, and I got that, I believe, Love the Game auctions a couple of years ago. Pretty decent price. It is a 2MC because the bottom border is pretty much missing, but I think it presents pretty well. And then the card on the right, I got about a year ago in White Plains. It's the beautiful 1933 Tattoo Orbit. I recently got the Cochrane of that set, which I showed off.
That's one of my favorite Lefty cards. That one and the DeLong might be doing 2 favorites.
Yeah, the DeLong, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to own, but if I do see it, I'm going to look for it. So that's I'm pretty proud of this little.
That's a good trio to have.
Yeah,
I was
would
talking
say,
to Dan earlier. I have the cash in, but I cannot find it. It's stuffed in this room someplace.
So it was talking about before. I know what I spent on that card. It's not an inexpensive card. I mean,
No.
Cash is popular set of sort of postcard size because they're beautiful photographs. There's a great Babe Ruth. There's a great Lou Gehrig. Jimmy Fox is in it. So it's like the best players of the time frame. But I love this card. I mean, it's classic.
Yeah. You see that Lefty picture in a lot of cards from that era.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing I would like to get the 34, which I owned at one point, but I wasn't happy with my copy. The 34 Goudey. I would love to get the Diamond Stars, and we'll see that in a second. But it's number 1 in the set. It's hard to get. And then I at one point owned card. We'll also see the double play, the 1940 double play. But I'm not a big fan of that set, to be honest with you.
This one matches. This is a beat the crap. This one here. This matches same kind of.
Yeah.
I think that's the 30W554 possibly. It's really beat up. I got this as a kid as well.
It's a classic photo.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the Hoyle collection. So upper left is the Diamond Stars, which is number 1 in the set, which makes it harder to get in good condition. And for some reason, it's just a very expensive card.
Yeah, and he has a couple in that set.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's number 1 on both cards. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Yeah.
That's one that I got as a kid. Those 3 on the left right there.
That's a pretty good eye there.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the 70s, if you went to a card show or a flea market card shows, as you were talking about before, didn't really exist in my mind until like the late 70s. So
right.
If you got these in the mid 70s, you got them at a flea market. You probably paid $2 a piece or something.
Yeah, I don't even remember, but it couldn't have been much. I mean, I had allowance for mowing lawns. That's about it. So, and I was buying those, and my buddies were buying, 74 and 75 tops from guys. But I fell in love with Lefty early.
So the top.
Top right
reminds me of I did a Joe Wood show last week, as you may well know, another Red Sox legend. And there was a postcard in there that looked kind of similar to this, but it was like, I don't know, it was Speaker and Wood, so it was like 1912 or something. So obviously, this is much later. If
we're talking the middle one, that's from 35, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I don't know the actual numbering on that. It's the R309-2.
Okay. And then I know the bottom right, I have the Giants version of that. It's like 1936.
Yes.
Exhibits 4 and 1.
Yeah, that's a 36 4-1. Yeah, Lefty's on a few 4-1s with the A's. He's on a couple with the Red Sox. That's one of the two I have. Um, Different guys. It's him and Fox on a couple of them. Even the A's one, I believe.
Well, this one is him and Fox and Cronin and Dick Farrell? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Farrell. Yep.
Yeah.
Farrell. Rick Farrell, catcher. Yep.
Right.
The middle card, it
Whoops.
shows like it's big, but it's really small. The middle card there. That's just
Right.
a blown up version of it. That's a lot smaller than that. It's maybe 2x3. It's smaller than a regular card.
Okay. All right. So there's your tattoo orbit, which looks pretty nice. I mean, that's really nicely centered.
That one's raw. Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice card.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, I know you're not a big grader guy, but probably get a nice mid grade on that.
Yeah.
The thing with mine is that it's a 4, but it's got like some staining on the back, so I wouldn't resubmit it for it because it's never
no.
4 again.
Yours is beautiful. The front's really nice.
And then we got what's the middle with the baseball, the two baseballs being
That's
held?
a 35 Schluter and Johnson, I think it's called. And those were drawn by Al DiMarie. He's a player that did those cartoon type drawings.
Nice.
And that's the Lefty Grove. It's basically you see his hand,
Right.
Showing you the grip on his couple of pitches, I believe.
And then to the right of that, like the cartoon one, I thought that was the I don't know, the MP and E or whatever, but it's not.
No, that's the import eclipse, I believe that's called.
Yep.
They're pretty ugly. Lefty's actually one of the nicer looking cards in the set.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's not a bad card.
No, it's not bad.
And then Worldwide Gum? No,
that's a 37 O-Peachy.
Oh, Peachy, that's right. Yeah. It is.
I want to grab the Callahan thing I have here.
Yeah. And then on the right is the 1950 to 55 Callahans.
Yeah, and these came in little boxes like this. This is one of the original boxes.
So let me get you. Let me see that again. So that's how the Callahans came. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they came in these. That's one way they came. I found this little box, and I think this might have been. They've added to the set because that came out of numerous years. So
right,
this might have been the original set of, I don't know how many were in here, but you got this mailed to you. They stuck a little stamp on here, just mailed the box just like this.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
I thought they gave them out at stadiums.
There was probably numerous ways, but
right.
This is the box I have. It might have been the original set. I don't know. Mail order, I guess, out of some periodical.
Well, that's a great piece because I literally, it's not that much known about them. I mean, I never heard of them as a kid or as a teenager.
I found this at an antique store down in Cape Cod, and I got it for a steal because I don't think anybody knew what it was. But yeah.
Oh boy.
No, they're small. Those cards are small. They're maybe 1 3/4 by 2, maybe. They're really small.
I had the only one I have is I have an old Haas Radborn in an SGC 7 because they're also in really good shape a lot of the times because they stayed in boxes probably for years.
Yeah.
The only problem with the Radborn is that he's off center, but otherwise beautiful card, and I got it like for $5 at a show.
Yeah, they used to be really reasonable. I have the Fox and the Speaker as well, maybe a couple other guys, but they used to be very cheap. I've noticed the prices creeping up on those recently.
Yeah, and DiMaggio is very expensive because it's arguably still playing days for him because this came out in 50, and a lot of the labels, the flips say 50 on them, but it's really 50 to 55.
Yeah, there was over a few years.
So we're here. We're good in the 1930s. So the upper left is the Worldwide Gum, right?
Yep.
Okay. What year is that? 35?
30. I think so. Yeah, 35 Worldwide Gum.
And then I don't know the playing days, the playing cards.
The one just to the right of it with the 8. That's a Rittenhouse.
Okay.
That's a 33 Rittenhouse, and I'm not sure on the playing card what year that is. Right around that same era. I have a few from that set. I'm not even sure what it's called. I had some notes here, but I don't think I wrote that one down. I'm not quite sure, but I believe that's a blank back. The other one, the Rittenhouse one, has some writing on the back, his name and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And
And then
the U.S. Carmel Lefty on the
yeah.
bottom right. Pretty tough card to find.
Oh yeah. I once owned the Bill Terry, but I flipped it for like a $200 profit. So it's like somebody saw it on Twitter that I had gotten it at a show and offered me like $200 more than I paid for it. Like, and it was like,
I have a few. I got the
yeah,
Fox, I believe, but the Cronin I think I got because you have the Cronin.
yeah.
So
I have the Crohn's the only one I have in this set at this point. I tried to buy the Fox. I think it was actually from Bill Chappell, the dealer, and it was just I don't know. It wasn't even a high grade. And it was like $600, and I'm like,
Yeah. I bought these. I bought all mine except for the Cronin before they really went skyrocketing. So
yeah. Yeah, you don't see them that much. They're
No,
just
you
they
don't.
are actually pretty rare.
yeah.
So here we go. You got
So Lefty has two cards in this set.
okay,
The ones on the left, you can actually have four colors of those.
right.
There's the black, the brown. I think there's a green tint, and then that reddish one. I have one more that's in a box. I didn't put it out. I don't have all four, but I have three of the four. And he's actually an A on those, I believe, Philly A's. The one
Right.
on the right, that's a high number. His second card in the set because he was done over a few years, and that's a Red Sox card. And those are much tougher to come by.
So he's in the set as both the Philadelphia A and a Red Sox.
As is Fox, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So there's a few guys because they were put out over 4 years, 3 years, 34 to 36.
that's 34 to 36 on the thing. So that's 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if the later series ones came in four different colors. They probably did. I know the lower series did. But those are tough to find.
Oh boy.
Yes. So the top left is put out by an insurance company, and it was put out 65 to 67 Equitable Insurance. That's like it's not quite a 5x7. It's not quite an 8x10. It's somewhere in the middle of that. And I've had a couple of those. I've sold one. That's a pretty nice copy.
Yeah, it is.
The one to the right is I'm drawing a Sports Exchange.
Right.
Those are people are familiar with those. Came out over a few year period, and I don't know if they were issued to sports writers and whatnot because there's spots to put notes on the bottom.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
And you find some of them with notes. Later we'll see a different version of those. Bottom's the exhibit and the DeLong, which is my favorite Lefty card.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have the Fox from that set, right?
Yeah, I have those both front and center on the shelf over here.
Yeah, I have the Fox as my only card from that set, and I don't know. They're also extremely expensive cards, and for good reason because they're absolutely fantastic cards.
They are.
And I've tried to buy several over the years of a variety of different players, but I don't even know what that Lefty Grove would go for now. What is it, a 3?
Yeah, I don't even look at the prices now that I have them. I really don't follow it.
Yeah, that's a 4-digit card at this point. And I I had Mike Moynihan on the show with the when he had just picked up the Lou Gehrig, which is like absolutely amazing, terrific card, but it's like $6,000, like a 3.
I have the Fox in the Grove front and center, and I have like a replica World Series ring for the A's on the Lefty stand that I had made. Just for
yes, that picture was in my
you
video.
showed it. Yes,
your room.
You showed it. Yeah. And the exhibits, those are tough to find too. The exhibit, the bottom left.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
What
on
year
a few
is that?
exhibit. 29 to. He's an A on that one, I believe.
Yeah.
He has an earlier one, but I don't have them all. I collect all the Red Sox one, the A's. If I find them, I'll grab them. He's actually an A on the DeLong, but
oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. So I pick and choose.
But regardless of what uniform he's in, that DeLong is really absolutely iconic card. So uh, the ball on the right looks kind of modern.
It is kind of modern. I have
Yeah.
no idea. I've seen these recently floating around at different antique stores I pop into, and I just happened to see this Lefty, and I thought it just looked cool. It was $2, so I bought it. I found a Babe Ruth one at another store just randomly. 2 days later, paid $5 for it. They just look neat. You know, you can stick them in on a display, and they look good. They're not worth much, but they're just cool piece to set up.
And then on the left is like the Who's Who
The
magazine.
Who's Who, I'm not sure of the year, and that's buried
Yeah.
in the back of a display, and I was not going to dig it out because I'd knocked it over. But
It's okay.
there's a cheap way.
I
That's a
know
cheap
how much
way
work.
to find some Lefty stuff is on these old Who's Who's and different mags that, little booklets that came out preseason every year, and they highlighted the stars. I've got quite a few with Lefty and Jimmy and all those guys on them. Ted Williams was on a ton too.
Yeah, it's a great series and not really well known or well collected. Bottom left is an autograph.
That's just a picture that was cut out of a magazine of some sort, but it's certified. That's my only Lefty auto.
I was going to ask. I thought you might have more, but that's
the only one. That's the only one.
Slabbed up in a PSA slab. I have a similar of Hank Greenberg. It's just cut out from a newspaper.
Yeah,
and it's him interestingly enough, and Commissioner Landis handing him some, I don't know, probably an MVP or something, and then it's a Greenberg signature, and it is certified.
Lefty has a pretty distinguishable autograph, so you can tell I've seen facsimile ones, and that looks good. That one.
He comes from a modest family. They were miners. I guess they were probably coal miners, Western Maryland.
I would think, coming from that area. Yeah.
So he didn't go. He's not a schooled man. Let's put it that way. I don't even know if he finished high school. But he was also a bit of a cantankerous sort too. So
yes, he was. Yes.
There's a little bit of that. So there's the one on the bottom right is the 1941 double play, which I guess would be his last playing days card, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. I actually have doubles of that. I'm setting up at a show next week. I'm selling one of those.
So. Oh, I owned that card at one point in, I don't know. It was a low grade, and I didn't pay very much for it, but I just wasn't happy with it.
This was gifted to me by John Cove, a guy I've met through the card channels and whatnot. So I have an extra one. I'm going to try to sell it next weekend. Set up at a show.
Does he have just one card in that set, or is there two?
He only has one in that. Yeah.
Because I know several players have two. Greenberg has two, and Mize has two.
Yeah, Cronin's on two. Ted's on two.
Yeah, that's right.
On one. He's only on one.
Oops, did I just go backwards? Yeah, it looks like I went backwards.
I might have sent this out of order too.
So. No, that was me going backwards. All right, so I know the cards on the W517 is the bottom left. That was a hand cut.
Yep.
I have Bill Terry and Jack Quinn from that set.
I have the Lefty, the Mickey Cochran, and the Fox from that. I have them all next to each other. It looks pretty nice.
Nice. And then the pastel colored thing on the bottom right is the R311, I think it is.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, they're kind of a funny little set where they colorized old black and white photos. Some of them come out better than others, but it used to be a reasonable way to get Hall of Fame guys. I don't know about any. But
it's still not that expensive. I picked up, I haven't shown it on the channel yet. The Wayner brothers, so you get two Hall of Famers in one card, and they're being held up on the shoulders of giant Jim Wilson, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Also pastel colorized, and it looks a little odd, but so you got two Hall of Famers here. You got Connie Mack and Lefty Grove, and Connie Mack, who I guess made some bad investments in the early 30s, and the Depression killed him, so he had to sell off one of the greatest teams of all time.
He sold off a lot of guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Cochran went to the Tigers, and Simmons went to the Phillies, I think.
Yeah, Fox got rid of Fox. He had a whole slew of Hall of Famers that just
Fox and
unloaded.
Grove both went to the Red Sox. I mean, it was almost like Charlie Finley getting rid of the
Exactly. Yeah,
A's.
exactly. Yeah.
Same thing. It was, and that was the A's also. But they were in 29 and 30, absolutely dominant teams. I think they won like 105 games one of those years.
Yeah, they were
And then,
they were a
and
dynasty.
they were dominant in 31 when Grove was like 31 and 4.
Yeah.
And they won the pennant by like 20 games, and they went into the World Series having beaten the Cardinals the year before, and lost to the Cardinals in 7 games, which honestly was a shocker. It must have been like the year that the Cincinnati Reds beat the mighty A's, which was
Yeah, big upset.
because it was shocking, and that was the end. If they lost in 31, he started selling guys off pretty much right after that.
Yeah.
And then the A's were a terrible franchise
for a lot of years. Yes.
Connie Mack kind of screwed them, but I guess he needed the money. And Cronin, I remember when we were doing the Cronin show, he was managing the Red Sox at that point, and they were just selling into his team these,
yeah, he ended up with a lot of A's on his team. There was 4 or 5 that ended up over there.
And then we got these. The bottom 2 are Wheaties, right? You know what? I just talked over the top 2. I don't know what the top 2.
The top left that's a cutout from one of the Who's Who. That's from a 39. And you find these quite a bit. Guys cut them out and sell them. I found that at a flea market someplace. And then the Perez Steel. Right. I don't have a lot of those, but I have certain ones. I think the Lefty looks incredible.
Yeah, that's a nice drawing.
Yeah,
he did some nice work over the years. All right, so
these are all Wheaties. These are all Wheaties.
The yellow is Wheaties?
Yep. These 4 and the next 4. Lefty was on 10 of them. I have 8 of the 10.
Looks like he's getting served dinner on the top left there.
Yeah, although Wheaties should have been breakfast, but who knows?
I don't know what he's doing. What he's doing in a suit at breakfast.
I don't know. The bottom right, he's basically holding, I believe, the MVP trophy before it was such a thing.
Right.
I found that actual picture. It's pretty. You see it quite often. Him holding that trophy.
But he didn't win he won the MVP with the A's.
Who knows?
What's going on there?
I don't. Maybe that was the picture of I don't know what award. They different names back then. But there is 10 lefties in the Wheaties sets.
Right, and they're all Red Sox because it's late 30s, right?
Yeah, I don't have the years. I have these in a binder with the years written on them. Which ones are which? I don't know which ones are which now. There's another 4. Those are all Wheaties as well.
Right. Grove fans love Babe Ruth.
Huh?
Is that true?
Anything to sell cereal.
I don't know, because he had some quotes, because the A's kind of took over from the Yankees in the late 20s as the team to beat, and he had some quotes back and forth with Babe Ruth that weren't very nice.
I'll have to look that up, how Babe actually hit against them, because it'd be lefty on lefty. So
I actually, that's interesting, but I do know that they used to taunt each other and say terrible things to each other that can't be repeated on a family show. Okay, so we got the Sporting News book for 1932. That is wonderful. Is that the full book, or is that just the cover?
That's the full book, yeah.
Nice.
Those are really cool. They're a great collectible. That's pretty small. Those are maybe 3 by 6. Really, they're fun to look through. The bottom right, the Baseball Digest, that's from May 63.
Nice.
And that's I was born May 11th, 63. So that's one reason I picked that up, and Lefty just happens to be on it.
Well, yeah, he's on it. And there's 2 other pictures who I can't recognize right away.
And
I had a subscription Baseball Digest when I was a kid, but it was like in the 70s. It wasn't 1963. Wow.
Yeah. So I still have.
I didn't even know they published that early.
Yeah. No, I have a bunch of them with all Red Sox guys on them, but I bought that one because it was my birthday, basically, and Lefty just happens to be there. The top right is, I forgot the actual name of this. You might, if you blew it up, you might be able to see it. That's actually, it's a Canadian, French Canadian issue, and it's actually a full newspaper,
Oh,
but they are cataloged. And I
okay.
forgot the name of it. It took me a long time to track this down. You could probably read it on the very top if we could blow it up.
Yeah, I can't really blow it
I
up.
forgot the name of it. It's a colorized black and white again. It's
Maybe
in hand. It's really really nice to look at. I have it in a big top letter. It's a full magazine, a full newspaper page.
I think I just gave us a blank screen for about a second there, but I really probably should know the software a little better. So here we have some stamps.
These are actually 1950 I think 423s, and these are like 5/8 by 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
And the orange and the purple are very hard to find. They come in green, they come in red. I have two lefties. One's orange and one's purple.
Nice.
Took me
And
forever to track down the Ted Williams, but I do finally have one.
So if it's 50 Ted's playing days, that's got to be
Technically,
expensive.
yeah. And these came in strips of like 10.
Is it a mix of most, or is it all mostly all-time greats?
No, there's a little bit of everybody on there. I have
Yeah.
a full strip that has Mel Parnell on it, he was big in Boston, but he's not really an all-time great. They came in, I think the strips were 10 or 11 pieces long. They were all cut. You can see little perforations on some of these.
Yep. On the
They came in like 4 or 5 different colors, and the different backs are different scarcities. The purple and the orange are tougher to come by, from what I hear.
Yep. It's a good picture though, even though it's tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, you have these. You can bail. These are really tiny. They're smaller than a postage stamp.
I've come to really like buttons. Well, I know a lot of these aren't Lefty.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
these are all in displays, and as opposed to just taking them out, I just took a shot of each one.
Right.
The baseball tab, that's the one where you can see Fox and Lefty on the top left.
Yep.
And then there's that's a crackerjack pin, middle row, all the way to the left.
Yep.
That's crackerjack. On the other side, the top right, Lefty's in the middle. That's an orbit pin. And then below that, those are actually league leader pins, and those came out in 33.
Wow.
And every single one I've ever found has been beat up. I have a couple that have Red Sox guys on it. Lefty happens to be one of them. And then the bottom coin, we'll see that later in the thing. That was put out the World's Fair, I believe, 34, whenever it was in Chicago. I'm not sure when that was. But there's a picture, there's a flyer that we'll see where Lefty Grove was the salesman for a safety glass. And they handed out these coins. It shows him throwing a baseball at the glass and the glass exploding, like safety glass is supposed to. So that, there's a little pamphlet you can buy and the coin from the World's Fair.
I think you got. I think Jimmy Pearsall making an appearance here. In the
you got a little bit of everybody. You can see the little keychain tabs with Mel Parnell on them. On the left there, Elston Howard, Pearsall.
Yeah, I think you got Ted in there too on the left, middle left.
Teddy's on the top. You can barely see the bottom of him. Yeah.
There you go.
I love pins. I have a big collection.
Yeah, no, these are. I mean, they're really of the time. Those orbit pins are great. I gotta get one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got, I guess, some team photos here, right?
Yeah, the top left, that's actually it appears big in the photo here, but that's out of like one of the Spalding or the Rawlings guards. It's just a page ripped out of it. The right of that's the Chickle fine pen.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see the facsimile signature on the bottom left there.
Yeah, then I took that one twice. Once he's with Bill Werber on the bottom. It's the same one.
Oh, okay, all right.
And the other one, I believe, to the bottom right, I think that might be like a Manny's Baseball Land photo. It has this. If you saw the bottom, the way the script is, it looks very similar to all the other ones you used to get there.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know they had,
I have the Koufax back over
yeah,
here.
they had all present day guys there, but you could buy old timers, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're pretty distinct. The little script on the bottom, you can kind of tell when you see them where they came from. Or yeah, that photo was used a few times.
Well, the one on the upper right, which is the Chickle, that's the same photo I think from the double play also.
Very close. Yeah, I think it's very close.
Um, the
The
one
top left,
batting, yeah,
that's Lefty Grove batting. Yeah, I don't think there's too many photos of him batting. But there's one right there. He's a pretty big guy, as you can see.
yeah, yeah.
Pretty
And
big
then
guy.
there's something which looks like a monkey in a in a
Oh,
in a suit.
that was from a scrapbook find, and he was on the A's then, and there's all A's on the left and the right of that. That's from '29. It's actually in pretty good shape, cut
Okay.
out of a newspaper. The lefty batting came out of what they called the Beardsley collection. There used to be a store in Faneuil Hall, and he sold all these 8x10s, and he had taken photos for years, and he used to sell them there, and that came from there. The other photo of Lefty with his arms over his head, that's actually a picture of a picture. Fenway has, I don't even know what they call it now. It was called the 400 Club. And you would go in there, it's a private club underneath the stadium. And the walls had all these big, beautiful, 2 foot by 3 foot photos of all the Hall of Famers. So that's one of them. I just took a picture of it. I took one of everybody, but the Lefty one came out great. And
yeah,
then,
it's a great photo too.
Yeah, the bottom right, that's just another scrapbook page I picked up someplace. Somebody cut all the little A's guys out. Actually have great handwriting. If you see this, it's looks incredible.
Yeah, I think we saw that in the Fox show,
Because
right?
Fox is in there as well. Yeah,
Right,
Mickey
right,
Cochran's on
okay.
there too, I think. But it's just a nice piece, and whoever wrote it had incredible handwriting. It just looks really nice.
Yeah, it almost looks like signatures almost. We got some more. I guess the top left is one of the old-fashioned scorecards.
That's it. That's the cover of it. It says Regal Shoes. That's a game actually Lefty pitched, and it's partially scored. If you look at the top right, there's a picture of Bobby Doors jumping. That's from that same game. It came with the program when I bought it.
Oh, nice.
I have an article someplace that's stuffed in another binder about that game because it all came together as one. And the other that's just a cartoon. I think it's Bob Coyne, prolific cartoon artist for the Globe or the Herald in Boston, and he always put Lefty in a lot of his cartoons. There's one of them. And
what year is the scorecard? Like it's got to be late 30s, right?
Late 30s. I think it's 38. Actually, I'm not 100% on that. I think it's 38.
I have a New York Giants scorecard from 39 that looks very similar to that, and it is in fact scored.
It's funny because they must have printed these very late every day because everyone I've had from that era, it shows who's pitching that day.
They have the lineup. Yeah,
they have the lineup already printed for you.
I showed you before that I just got in yesterday a 48 Braves scorecard, and it has the lineup, but it has a couple of choices. Like there were 2 different second basemen and 2 different pitchers.
Yeah, you see that they had the starting pitcher here. I think he pitched against Feller that game too, actually.
Oh wow, okay.
I think I have a couple of them. I don't know if that's the right one I put in the photo. And then the bottom right, those are just pages out of a Spalding guide.
Yep.
I think they're pretty cool little pieces.
Oh, absolutely.
Show the team, and you can find those. People sell them, or I bought a bunch from at the show that you're going to attend. A guy had a whole pile of them, and I picked those up. Cheap way to get Hall of Famers. Some more. The top 2 came out of Boston papers, the Globe or the Herald.
Right.
The bottom right's a Philadelphia one.
Oh yeah, Connie's Crew. There you go.
Yeah, and the bottom left is out of the old baseball magazine, the one that black and white covers, like a red headline top on it.
Mm-hmm.
And every month, whoever's birthday, they always highlighted the guy's birthday from that month. And I bought a pile of those, probably about 50 of them. They were all cut up, really damaged, and I bought them for about 50 cents a piece. And I just dug through and cut out all the pieces that were left that were somewhat manageable, that looked good. And I have a whole binder full of stuff like this.
Nice.
The cartoons are pretty cool, I think. Top left is from an, I don't know how they were distributed. It's called Baseball Pix, Pix.
Uh-huh.
I've got a few of these. I have a Cronin. I have that Lefty. Not really sure how if they came in a magazine, you pulled them out, or a premium of some sort. I don't really know. Bottom left is called sports stamps, and I don't know what paper that is, but it's the same photo, and they had them in numerous newspapers all over the country. And it just so happened I grabbed a couple. I have a Lefty. I have a few other different guys, but you could find those with different newspaper headlines on the top. Same picture, same write-up, same everything.
And then there's one I see. I didn't know Schoolboy Rowe's name was Linwood until this very moment.
I didn't know. I think Joe Wood's in that top one too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and Lefty's on the right. I don't know what the article, the cartoon. Walter Johnson's in that too. So.
And then the bottom one, it says Boston's delegates. I guess that's to the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's another Bill Coyne, prolific artist that we've seen previously.
Yeah, no, those are great.
Yeah.
I don't know who the Braves guy is.
I'll look it up for you when I can't. Now here, the top two pictures in the ball smashed in the window. That's from the World's Fair. That's the program. The little. And I don't know if Lefty was there live and he actually did this. I don't know. But I think the World's Fair was in Chicago, and this is a little flyer you got when they were selling the safety glass, and the little coin you could purchase. So they gave it to you as well.
All right. Okay. So we're back. We got some cards here. The Retorido.
Yep.
Is 67, I think.
67, yeah. That's the front and the back. The green border type. That's the back.
Yeah, the backs in these tend to be destroyed for the most part. This one's actually really pretty closely intact here.
I have another Lefty that I'm also trying to sell next weekend. Of this has a big tape piece on the front of it, which you found a lot. They were either glued or taped into booklets.
And then on the right
is that's a Sports Exchange Mini.
Yeah.
Which I believe they were a sheet and they was a hand cut, I guess. And then the Sporting News stamp on the bottom. That's just a cutout for an All-Star team that year. I have the Fox and the Grove from that year. They display pretty nice. That's a pretty decent size, maybe 2x4.
Yeah. So you can read
delicate.
Read the bio.
Pretty delicate pieces.
So upper left is something that's probably
those are the 48 exhibits, Hall of Fame exhibits.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the 48 exhibits. I don't have any of those, but I've seen people go through them. They're really nice looking cards.
They're really nice, and you got to be careful because these were made a couple times in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, okay.
So there's distinguishable things that you can tell if you have them in hand. Not only the tint of it, the color of it, but it's just the bottom. If you look at underneath the pillars, there's a double line. The old ones, the new ones have a single line.
There you go.
Like that. Below that is a sports hobbyist card. Came in 75. Sports Hobbyist was a periodical you could get. It was a newspaper type thing.
Right.
It was out for maybe 5 or 6 years in the early 70s, and I subscribed to it. And every time you got a magazine, you got one like not every month, but maybe every other month. It was a newspaper. They always included cards like this or real cards. I actually got a 64 Giant of Mickey Mantle with my magazine one month.
There you go.
But these are collectible now. I had no idea, and then I was searching one day, and I realized I had a whole box of these with all.
What year is it?
That's a 75.
75. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got some more cutouts.
The top two are cutouts. Those are dated, I think, 38 and 39. And then the bottom, it's a series that I've managed to find a lot of them. It's like This Day in Sports. Somebody did something or other. Lefty's on the bottom left.
Yep.
I shot a picture of the whole page. Those are all Red Sox related guys in those 6 right there. All right. So people are probably familiar with the Hall of Fame postcards.
Right. I'm used to seeing the yellow ones, but the other one.
So the top left, those were from 46 to 52, and those are called Albert type. The one to the right of it, those are called Art View, and there was one. I have 2 of those because there's 2 different styles. 53 to 55 is the one I have showing right there. There's another one that came out from 56 to 63. It's just slightly different. Some of these are as different as if you see the 4 little screws in the top holding the plaque. It depends on which way the head of the screw is facing. You can distinguish the year. It's the minutia of these is that different, and they're slightly different color. You know, a little less white. The colored ones, those came out in 77. The red one there.
I've never seen a red one before.
There's red ones, there's green ones. Those only came out for 1 year, and those were put out by Dexter Press.
Okay.
Since then, everybody's familiar with the kind that's on the bottom right.
Right, with the yellow. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's a secret for anybody. If you want to, I'm a member of the Hall, not an actual playing member, but I belong to the Hall of Fame. I pay my $50 a year. And I had an offer from them in the mail one day. I got that whole set of postcards. It was 360 of them at one point. I got them for less than $10 with free shipping. So I have the whole set.
Nice.
So now I just buy whoever's new. You just buy new ones every year. One thing that I didn't realize until I actually went to the Hall to pick up my new ones, any of the Spanish guys, they issue a postcard that's in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
So you can, like Juan Marichal, Pudge Rodriguez, Ortiz, all those guys have 2 versions. There's a Spanish version and an English version. The stuff on the right, the top one is put out by Aramark, who they did some of the vending at Fenway. They put out a set of all-time greats. There was 2 different years. Lefty's on the top. The middle one's a TCMA set.
Yep.
Put out in the early 70s. It's actually pretty hard to find.
Yeah, I'm familiar with TCMA from that era, and I don't recognize that.
I think that's from 72 or 73.
Yeah.
It's just Red Sox. It's you used to find them around here quite a bit. Now they're drying up. And even the bottom right's called Early Yawkey Greats, something like that.
Yeah, who's in that?
Lefty's in that picture. That's why I picked them out. It's the pitching staff. I don't remember which year. The thing about these cards is they're slightly bigger than what a card would fit into a 9-pocket page.
Oh, okay.
So you have to put them in the, the ones that the early top sets fit. That's the only downfall of these.
Yeah.
And some of them are horizontal, some are vertical. So if you binder them up, it just looks really weird.
That's a great picture, though, with the 4 of them thrown.
Yeah, those are tough to find a complete set of. You'll find a straggler here and there at a show. It's tough to find the whole set. It's not that big, maybe 24, 25 cards.
If I saw that my next show, I would buy it.
Yeah, it's a double up.
I doubled up. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's probably my fault.
No, there's so now we got
modern cards. The top yellow cards actually came out in 68. It was put up by a company, Sports Memorabilia. Top left is a Conlon. I just love that card. I don't know if anybody would ever attempt to put all the Conlon sets together because it's absolutely huge when you figure it out.
But that's the color on that photograph is fantastic.
It is. It's beautiful. The bottom right is a flare set they put out. It's all Red Sox. It's 100 cards, all some great, some not so great, but I think they put it out for the 100th anniversary of the Red Sox. Bottom left, just a playing card, Lefty on it. Kind of a cool little piece. So
that's what come to our last slide. This is a book that I put up. Lefty Grove American Original. Jim Kaplan is the author. Jim Kaplan is also the author of the SABR biography, which I link almost always in these videos because the SABR biographies of the individual players are all really, really well done. And this one just happens to be done by the guy who literally wrote the book.
I can throw my pitch to SABR. I'm a member. You
I know.
pay a fee every year. There's a great convention, but they give you access to all these books online. So
Yeah,
it's well worth it.
absolutely. And SABR provides an enormous amount of information to the
I got a
card
couple other
community.
just show these.
Oh.
These are team issues.
Yep.
2 different years, same photo, different size. You know,
Uh-huh.
One's a 41. I just know because I have the whole set. It's tough to find these. Here's another TCMA, and this is from a set called the 30s Leaders,
Oh, nice.
postcard size. I think I showed this on the Jimmy Fox show. This is a reworking of the foreign ones.
Right.
These were put out by Jim Rowe, and these are 77s. Not that we didn't see enough. Here's a Shakey's Lefty. This is a reprint, but this is a Goudey card for the All-Star team. This is a 4-card set.
Right.
And here's another one this is a real one with 33 All-Star. All-Star team.
Oh, yeah. That photo.
Loaded, absolutely loaded with people.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's enough.
Cheap way to get Hall of Famers.
I don't know how cheap that one was, but
yeah, I've seen that available, and I just for some reason never picked it up. So we come to the end of Lefty, but the good news is I'm coming up to Boston in less than a month.
Yeah.
Shriners show is November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I'm coming up Friday night, going to the show on Saturday, the 2nd. Really looking forward to it. We're going to have some special guests up there. Going to take some photos.
Yep. Should have a full house of recognizable names and faces. It'll be a good show.
Some people that I'm not going to say, but some people, Don from the show and me has already talked about it. I'm not sure if he's committed to it, but he's coming up from all the way down in Virginia. And I know Mike Junk Wax Hero, who I should congratulate because he got 10,000 subscribers yesterday. Overnight, he got 10,000 subscribers, and he wanted to make sure he got it yesterday because today's his wedding anniversary. And he said he didn't want to be at dinner with his wife looking at his phone to count how many subscribers he had.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we should have a full house of people up there digging through some nice.
Yeah,
cards.
as you pointed out to me before we started recording, the Braves aspect of this is something that I hadn't even really thought of. Yeah. I know, the Red Sox stuff and the Yaz stuff and all that stuff is going to be fun, but the Brave stuff should be something I'm going to see things that I've never seen before. So
yeah, you should be able to find some different stuff.
Yeah, that's the reason to travel for shows to different areas. Strongsville gave me a really nice selection of Cleveland stuff that I'd never seen before, so I picked up a couple of really great Al Rosen pieces. And the National in Chicago is something I expect to find some people from the Midwest. So did the National in Atlantic City, got some people never seen before. Chantilly was another show I went to where we got some people from the South. So really looking forward to Shriners. Looking forward to hanging out with you, my friend. And thank you again for being such a wonderful guest on these shows and showing off your amazing collection. And like I said, I've been in the card room, so I know it's real.
I was talking to Dan. I'm setting up at a show for the first time next Sunday, selling off some extra stuff. And this room is an absolute mess right now. So have to spend there after I have to go build my mantle in my living room, and then I can come up and clean my room. So that's my plans.
Yeah, my plans on Saturday are also baseball card related because I got a bunch of new stuff coming in. So viewers, I do not have a show planned for next week, but I will have one. And then we've got stuff coming up after that. I am going to be hosting 4 collectors on the 20s, whatever the Sunday is, like the 27th or something. Do not have a show yet for that, but I will be planning it. And, we got stuff coming up. And, of course, the Shriners is going to give me a great show, probably 2 shows on just hanging out with friends and picking up some great cards and telling the story of a wonderful trip up to Boston. So Mark, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Viewers,
having me.
check back next week. And let me see, we're going to be closing up the recording. So